Alright, I got a couple of jobs to do here on the front. I'm going to pull off and rebuild both brake calipers, and I'm also going to I'm going to do the master cylinder as well up top, and I'm also going to install a Racetech fork kit here into the forks. Haven't done this before, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so first thing I'm going to do is crack off these bolts. Actually, I'll get the breaker bar. Okay. Because I want to crack them and then do them up again. Just like that. Do the other side. Don't know if this is the recommended method, but it seems preferable to me to do it like this, at least to get it off and emptied. Good to be an opportunity to clean that up. Now, what else stops it coming off? Nothing really, it's just a tight fit. Need to figure out if this is going to be the right thing to get in there. Yep. Easy. Heaps of room. Right. Yeah, even that fits. Just my normal one. Okay, well, that doesn't seem to need to be a very long one, but nice to have. Alright, got something else to do here as part of the job of rebuilding my brakes was also to install a Racetech kit that I got from Brook on the bike. Very kindly got from Brook. And I just want to show some of the basics. I've been on the phone with him, he ran me through some of this, which was great. And we got this far and then I stopped because I had to wash stuff and, you know, clean things up and rebuild it. And then I'll have a chat to him again at the final stage, filling it up and adjusting it. But I just want to show what it is and the basics of taking your fork to pieces and installing one of these. There's a couple of videos on YouTube about these things. This is another one. Alright, so the purpose of the kit is to make the fork have a progressive kind of damping. In the original forks, there's no progression, it's just one damping fits all. And the damping for the spring is provided by a ball bearing sitting in here, and of course the overall shape and size of all the parts that have to slide up and down. But that's what does it. In fact, I can show it to you in here somewhere. The original damping units. Well, it's basically by the oil going through all of this, moving through all of that. With the, and as I was saying, it's sort of one size fits all. What they're doing with modern forks have progressive springs, I guess, progressive damping as well. And so what happens is when you go over small bumps, it responds to that quite lightly. And as you go over heavier and heavier bumps, it'll change the response, change the damping, so that you have better feel overall. Better feel, better traction and so on over different types of road. And with these old forks, what they do is they have this thing called a, what do they call it, something emulator. And this is what it is. This is a Racetech one. There are other kinds around. And what they do is over small bumps, The fork oil goes through these holes here, just those 4 little holes, and that provides a certain amount of damping. As you go over bigger and bigger bumps, or as the bump gets stronger and stronger, this part here will be pushed upwards. So that gets pushed up because there's too much oil going through the hole, so it actually lifts this thing off the base. And at that point the oil comes up and around, comes out these 3 slots around the side, comes around it. And at what point that happens, of course, is determined by the strength of this spring here and how far it's wound in. The kits come with different springs like this. They're colored. I've been told to use this one. That's the best overall, you know, because I'm not racing the bike, you know. And so to go with that one and use it like that. What else happens? So as part of the installation, you can leave your forks on the bike. You've got to get the bottoms off and all the bits out. And I thought I'd just quickly show what that process was in case someone like me in future is trying to do this. Of course, the kit also comes with springs that are a lot bigger. I'll show you what the originals are. That's an original. This is the new one. This is in a tube to stop it from buckling inside the fork leg. These are so big they don't need that. The leg is the tube. All right. There's also some other bits in the kit here. There's a spacer here with like a piston ring around it, a nylon one, some extra washers. You're going to need seals for the forks. While you're at it, you may as well replace these with some nice new ones. Mine are quite new, so I'm just keeping them, although if I could bother sitting around even longer, I might get new ones, but they're easy to replace afterwards. You could just drop the fork out in one piece and do that, so that's no great drama. Okay, so I'll show the bike. Let's have, oh, I guess I'll just quickly talk about the tools you're going to need. I've got these for circlips. There's one outer and there's one inner to remove. The inner is quite large, the outer smaller. As well as that, it's recommended to have a rattle gun of some sort. Just because what you're trying to do is undo a bolt. You're trying to undo a bolt like this that sits on the end of that, and it's up inside the fork leg. It's up in the bottom of this. You can see that in there. That's where it sits, up in there. And in case, because you don't necessarily have a good grip on this, you've got to take the axle out. A rattle, and it can be stuck depending on how the last person put it together. A rattle gun is recommended, so use that. You know, an impact driver. Okay, also you need an 8mm hex, and it should be longish. Turns out it didn't need to be this long. It only needed to be about that long. So, you know, you need one about that long. But it was quite nice that it was long. So get that, or borrow that. In the end, mine came out really easily. First click, bang, and they were out. What else? You need a socket for the nuts at the top of the fork. Just a nice big one, whatever fits yours. This one here, out of my set, this was the best fit. 1 3/16. I didn't seem to have a metric one that fit, so that one fit nicely though. Came straight off as well, which was nice. And what else do you need? Gosh, almost nothing. Almost nothing. So let's go over to the bike and have a quick look what I did. So of course I supported the bike. I support my bike on a strap here. I've got a hook on the ceiling in a steel beam that I use, and so the front of the bike is supported on that. And of course you've got to take your wheel off, take your fender off, brakes, undo those. Mine are off anyway because I'm doing work on them, so that was easy. But yes, otherwise you'd need to take off the calipers, and you could probably just move them up here into this area and zip tie them to this this area. That would probably work fine. You should loosen the top clamp here on both sides. Leave the bottom one just so that you don't upset anything if your bike is well adjusted. And then don't undo this one yet, and don't undo the circlip at the bottom yet. So the next step, I'll just move right along here. After undoing the screw underneath with the rattle gun, and just, you know, pull it out, wind it out, and it falls out. At that point, oh yes, one further tip. Because you can't get a good grip on this thing necessarily, you might need a stronger grip than you realize. You might. What I did was I took this drift, put it through the brake bracket hole, and then just held on to that. Plenty of force in that. In the end it just popped off straight away, but that gives you a good hold. What else? Put a tray underneath, of course. You could drain the fork oil first. Doesn't really matter. It's not that much that comes out. A couple 100 mil comes out. It's going to all go in the tray anyway, so whether it comes out of this screw or that doesn't really matter. After undoing that, the fork leg actually just slides straight off. Just comes straight down, straight off. And then inside the leg, down at the bottom, you'll find this piece. It'll either be stuck on here, it'll either be sitting on the end like that, or more likely it'll be down the end of this, sitting down there. So do whatever you need to get that out, poke something through, or just tip it over and probably fall out. So get that out. You're going to be cleaning that up. Just get everything. So maybe you do this while the bike is still down on the floor and everything on a stand or something. But depending on how tight yours is, mine was not. There we go. That's coming out. Now this will pop a little bit, about an inch or so. Thankfully Brook told me all of this while I was doing it in advance, so no surprises. There we go. Not that much, so that's not too bad. And here, it's exactly what you'd expect. I bought this cheap flashlight that I'm finding really useful. It's just a two-stage. It's got an LED out the front and an LED like that for, you know, pointed light and soft light. But what's really nice, it's got magnets there, so you can clamp it all over the place. It's got hooks on the top, so there's a little hook there. You can hook it to something if you want. And the top flips like that, and the base comes out like that. Great stuff, really useful. I've been finding that really nice to use. So what I do is just putting it on the ground, and then I'm going to tilt that to make it point straight up there. That easy. No hands. Okay, that's done. I'm going to lie down. Get upside down. Okay, there's the clip. We need the other. This one here, it's not that deep in, so this plier like this will do. That's enough. It's only about that far in. And like clips always are, they're easy to get a hold of, easy to squeeze, and ever so simple to pull out. There we go. Easy. Nice and easy. If you set it all up and plan on it, it's all straightforward. And at this point, give it all a tug. There we go. See, almost nothing came out right there. Very straightforward. I was going to try and get this circlip off. It was hard to get the one off yesterday, the other one. You need 3 hands. That one's a lot easier. A lot easier. No problem. And at that point, this one just comes off like that. Now, there's another thing that one has to do, and this is sort of the harder part of the whole process, when it's destructive. And so, you have to, this is the original, there's a ball bearing in there, quite a large ball sitting there, and this piece here is press fit on there. You got to fasten all this in your vise in a way that you're not going to damage it, and then use some grips to pull this off. Wrench it off. There's some people online showing that. In fact, Racetech's own site has a section where they talk about the 38mm Masoki, and it's not exactly this fork, but it's very similar. In name it's this fork, but it's not. It's an earlier one. And they show how to do that. And then it will look like this. That's where the bearing sat. And that piece was press fit over here. Okay, at the other end of this tube are holes. The original one has one cross hole like that. And they tell you to drill, they actually tell you to drill 2 more, 1 centimeter apart. This has 1 more. Now, Brook prepared these for me so I could keep these original and not damage them, which was very kind and very useful. So this one came prepared. I just realized there's one more thing I wanted to do before I take everything away to wash, to clean. I'm going to get these screws out. Need to get these seals out. There's 2 seals in them, and there's a circlip. It's like a piston ring. It doesn't have little holes in it, but there's a little notch in the end for pulling it out. So we'll just get a screwdriver or something. I can see the trick is to go inwards and up like that. Ooh, up, 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 up. And then around. Yep. Right, back to this. Thought I'd try the dual screwdriver method. Let's see what we can do. Just see how tight they are or loose. I have no idea. Oh, yep. Thought it was going to be very tight there for a second, and then it popped. Okay. Apparently these go in with the... Oh, I can't remember now. There's one side where you can see the spring there. Yeah. One side has a... You can see through and see a metal circlip. Just a clip around the outside. I believe that goes down. I believe it goes down. I'll just check on this one. Yeah, well, it's not visible there, so I'll check on the next 2. So let's try that again. Again, seems tight. Ah, that one's tight. It's not a great system. Oh yes, there we go. It is a great system. Every time I say something and then I'm proven otherwise. Okay, so yes, the clip is visible on the bottom side. It's barely visible, but that's where it is. And that's everything out of there now. There's nothing left. Yep. It's ready to be cleaned. So, before I put all this back together, I think I'm going to give it a clean out. Just once, just run a paper towel through. I'm going to use some brake clean. I'm going to cover my beautiful dash and everything before I do it. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then I thought I'd shove a paper towel in, maybe two. Well, I think I'll shove one in and I'll wet it. I'll put another in on top. That'll be the dry. And then we'll get a broom and push it all through. Ooh, spotless. Yes. The nice thing about the brake clean is it just evaporates so quickly. So first I'll go in with a just letting it dribble into the tray down there. And scrunch up one. There's the wet one. And another. Follow it down. All right. Nice. Oh, sparkling. Nice. Good. These are the retainer rings for the top of the fork, the seals, dual seals at the top. I had trouble getting one of them out because it didn't have an edge to grip. When I look at the other one, it's cut like that. That one's that way, that one's that way. I'm going to just do the same here. Clean that up. It's obviously broken off or something in the past somewhere, so I'll do the same. I'll clean that one up as well. I'm hoping to be able to just go like that. Whether I should do it that way, no, this is going to be the easiest, but it might dig. We'll see. That's a good edge to get under. Now let's try and do it here. So I'm going to cut one like that, just for no reason other than practice. So on the other, it's going to be like that. It's a bit crappy to get into it. I'd say that's a pretty good edge. Right, good stuff. I've cleaned up the fork legs, refinished them, looking nice, and I was just cleaning up these surfaces here, leaving that one because that's the that is this side of the axle, so that's visible. And I was looking at these because I'd only got just the screws out of these oil holes, and so I looked in the manual and saw 15, a gasket. So I pulled out a couple of like paper gaskets, paper washers. I was going to use those, and then I looked in this one and I thought, oh, it's actually in there. So I'll pull this one out. There we go. It's a squashed up O-ring. A little bit too big, so it's sort of gone outside of the hole and got so squashed up. Plus it's painted under there. So it was just put in on top of the paint. So it's not that great, so I've just been cleaning those up. I've cleaned up this one, the other one. Got that all nice looking. Just using my usual tools. Pointer to get right in there to the edge. And the old fiberglass brush. And also a bit of emery wrapped around the tip of this drift here, just to get around the outside edge. And there we go. And so what it's going to get an O-ring again, but it's going to be just, I believe, the right size. Oh, I see what the problem is. The screw is so fat that it would need to be a very skinny O-ring. Right. That'll be what happened. So the person used that O-ring, probably by checking the hole, and then found that the screw was so fat, so I bet they did this and then screwed it in. That's actually going in quite nicely. Yeah, I don't see it around the edge at all. And the screw has seated onto that interface very nicely without any dramas. So perhaps that particular O-ring is just small enough to get in there. Yeah, that's good. I could use a slightly smaller one. Let me have a look. I don't think I've got one just that tiny tick smaller. It can't be too small. This is the next size down. It's a fair bit smaller. Let's try that. I'll put it on the second screw. That might be fine. Let's see how that one works its way in. I think I can feel it just coming on to the O-ring in that last 1/8 of a turn, which is not much. But probably plenty. Well, which one shall I use? I'll probably use the smaller one, because things don't need to be overboard. Just, I mean, the surfaces are clean, so it really just needs to pull up onto onto the rubber. Doesn't have to squish it out all over the place. See, that one pulls up right there, right there. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely feel it deforming the O-ring quite a bit. Certainly filling the space, but doing something more like that original here that's all deformed. Yeah, I'll go with the smaller one. Got plenty. So I'll just do the second fork.